So you've decided to take the plunge and teach your child Latin, and you're looking for that perfect curriculum. Or maybe you're just curious about what Song School Latin is all about. Well, let me show you. If you're new here, I'm Rian, a Christ-following wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. Here we talk all things homeschool, and we will learn together how to use our roles as wife, mom, teacher, and homemaker in order to glorify God. So if you're here, you may already know all the benefits to teaching Latin to your children. Or you may be clicking on here wondering, why the heck would you teach Latin to your children? No one speaks Latin anymore. Well, let me tell you just a few reasons before I get into what Song School Latin is. So first of all, half of our modern English language comes from Latin. So if you get a good, strong foundation in Latin, you're going to be better at speaking and writing in English anyway. Second of all, Latin is where we get our root words for all of our modern science, theology, law, logic, government, all of those things have Latin in them. So if your child plans to go on into any of these fields, potentially, they will be very, very much benefited by already knowing some Latin. Thirdly, Latin helps immensely in teaching English grammar. Fourth, the foundation for further languages is found in Latin. So I took 5 years of French when I was in middle school and high school, and now looking back and trying to teach my children Latin, there are so many words that I see that I'm like, oh, yeah, I know exactly where that came from. And so I can see those connections all the time. And so if your child ever wants to go on to study Spanish or French or any other language, it's going to be a lot easier. And last but not least, which was actually the reason why I initially started teaching Latin to my children, was it is so good for your brain. It makes your brain stretch and think, and it uses parts of your brain that may not otherwise get used. Okay, so just so you know, I have used both Song School Latin Book 1 and Book 2. I have done these very, very slowly. So I have not used them exactly how they were intended to be used, but with the aging of my kids and just how things kind of played out, we just went through it once and then twice. Because I have 2 kids that are kind of spaced 2 years apart, and it just made the most sense for us. And we're not really in a race to get anywhere with Latin. We just want to set that foundation. So this year we are in our 2nd round of Song School Latin 2. If you want to see an old, kind of cringy, but still informational video of me reviewing Song School Latin 1 from a couple years ago, I'll link that up above. But just so you know, these are basically the same format. Just the content is a little bit different. So there are 5 parts to this curriculum. I do not use every single part. And just like with anything else, you can use it however you choose, and it will still benefit you in some way. So I use this children's book. So this is the book, technically the workbook that they write in. However, it does come with a teacher's book. I never have bought that because when I've looked at it, it basically just has an answer key to this book, which if you're following along with your students, you should be able to help answer them anyway. And then I saw a few extras in there, but I just didn't really see how it was super beneficial. With that book and with their DVD, which I got as a digital download, I didn't really need to teach anything because in the video, they kind of did the teaching for me. So I highly suggest getting that if you're not familiar with Latin. Plus, most of it is just written out right here in the book. There are also CDs, and so every chapter has a song that goes with it to help you memorize those vocabulary words. And so the CD is very important to have. We listen to it in the car, we listen to it at home during our actual Latin lessons, but just having it playing in the background sometimes is such a huge help. And then finally, there are some vocab cards. They are not necessary. I got them for free one time with something, and so we will play matching with them or something, but I don't use them every week by any means. Okay, so now I'm gonna flip you around and let you see the inside of the book. All right, here's the book. Hopefully the glare won't be too bad for you. So starting off, you'll have your table of contents, of course. Then you'll have your CD track information. If you're using classical pronunciation, it'll be numbers 1 through 30. If you're using ecclesiastical, it'll be numbers 31 through 60, tells you what chapter and page and how long the song is. Then here's your pronunciation guide, which I used a lot in the beginning. Continues on over on this page. Then there's the introduction, talks about scheduling and pacing, talks about the lessons and the grammar. It talks about code switching, which is when you change languages mid-speech. Some people like it, some people don't. So then there's additional resources, other Song School products, and then a suggested schedule. We don't follow this to a T, but it's definitely helpful. But they do, like I do, do it in 3-day chunks. So here's a look at a typical chapter. There are always phrases to learn or new words to learn depending on the week. There are review words. Now obviously in Song School Latin 1, there aren't those in the beginning. Then there's always a chapter song. It tells you the track here. And then your new words are going to be in bold. Then there's usually a famous saying. And this stuff they go over in the DVD if you buy that, or the digital download. The chapter lesson, which they will go through all of that. Grow your English. So I like this part because it uses Latin words and tells how they have gone into our English language. Like the word dies means day, like that's where we get the word diary. So then there's practice your Latin, where there's some tracing. And then it goes into various forms of activities for the practicing part. Some of them are a little easy like this. Some of them get harder and harder. Then there's some more of that practice. And then this is the final part of the lesson, show what you know, which we use kind of like a quiz. They don't know that it's a quiz, but I just am a little more hands-off with that part, and they can, really show me what they know. And then I thought I'd come over to chapter 13. So throughout the book, you will find review weeks. So here you will just remember what all of your different vocab words are from the last 10 lessons, or I don't remember how often they do it, but all those vocab words. And we usually just go through that together. All right, now I thought I would take you to one of the last chapters in the book just so you can see how it progresses. See all of these words to learn. That list is a lot longer. There's your review words. The song, the saying, the lesson, all of this stays the same. Grow your English, practice your Latin. You'll see here one of our chants that we do to learn about the different endings. And there's a big, long copy or tracing section, which my boys were a little too old for that, so I didn't worry about doing that. A lot of that. Draw pictures of opposites. Sorry, some of their drawings. Okay. Then fill in the blank, and then show what you know. So this, again, follows the same sort of pattern, but I just wanted to show you something that was a little more challenging toward the end. Okay, and then here at the very end of the book, we have an end of book review. So it's one big fat review of everything you've learned. At the end of the book, you have a bunch of appendices. So there is all of your new vocabulary for each chapter. Appendix B is your chapter by chapter glossary, so you can review your vocabulary. It's like it has all the words that were talked about in chapter 8, and then which book they were found in, so Song School Latin 1 or 2, and then which chapter of that book. So that can be helpful. And then Appendix C is an alphabetical glossary, which I did use quite a bit, especially in the beginning, because we'd be playing a game or going through a worksheet and my son would guess the answer and I'd be like, I honestly don't know, so I'd have to look it up. But what's really cool is even here they have the book and the chapter in there, so you can double check things if you need to. And then Appendix D is the summary of your grammar, which is very important, especially if you're not familiar with the language. Have all of your endings there, all of our different charts and chants and all that fun stuff. So if you forget some of this, it's easy to go back and look it up. Then Appendix E is just the charts for reference. Those are the different chants that we learned. Lavo, lavas, lavat, lavamus, lavatus, lavant. So these stick with you forever, guys. And then the very last appendix is for classroom commands. So if you just want to integrate more Latin into your day, these you learn pretty early on. So sede, sedete, serge, sergite, all those different things where you can use this in your classroom or in your homeschool to actually speak, just to get them more familiar with it. And then I think these were for an activity that we were supposed to cut them out and we just didn't do it, obviously. And then I think there's just a little section for notes back here. And that is it. So let me know in the comments down below what foreign language you teach or hope to teach in your homeschool. And then please subscribe and hit that notification bell. It really helps out my channel when you do so. And then be on the lookout. On Tuesday, I have another biblical womanhood video coming out, and it is all about hope. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.